Getting into the presence of God can be very life changing for us. Here we have a woman who bled for 12 years. And pretty much the scripture says, when Jesus had again crossed over by to the boat, to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him. And while he was by the lake, then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him. My little daughter is dying. Please come and put hands on her so that she will be healed and live. So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touched his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. I'm going to be as transparent as possible with you guys on here. You ever go to sleep and your heart is heavy, like your heart be heavy, and you're thinking about your life, everything you got going on. Sometimes we want things to happen immediately, but we got to understand, God time is not our time. And the number one reason being is, number one, because he's God. And then the other reason is because time is man-made. Don't argue with me. Just research. The time that we're on is not the time that God is on. It's not by God. We're supposed to judge time by the going down and the coming up of the sun. Bottom line. But that has nothing to do with what I want to speak about. But anyway, you lay in the bed and your heart is heavy. And you think to yourself, for me, I cling more to my word. That's the best motivation, the best inspiration I can get. It's good to hear and see people overcome, hear testimonies. But just to listen and read and hear about people before me is very inspiring. And the woman with the issue of blood, her situation came across my mind while I was laying in bed. You ever had that happen to you before? You've read the word, you've listened to the stories, and you find yourself in a different place in life, and certain things, like other people's situation that you've read about in the word, it come across your heart, come across your mind while you're laying down or even in your sleep. My mind just be going. Anyway, I thought about the woman with the issue of blood. How she just knew. People can't help me. You ever been in that situation? People can't help you. It's nothing nobody can do, because what you need God to do in your life, only he could do. Only he could do. Only he could go ahead and come through for you. That's the situation you in. Only thing people could do for real is just be quiet. Don't even say nothing. Because what you need to happen in your life has to come from God. He knows exactly what you need. He knows exactly what to do. But I got inspired by, I've read this plenty times, and I heard this so many times in my life, but it inspired me while I was sleeping the other night, because I thought to myself, wow, she just knew in her heart, if I can just get in the presence of God. It's so funny, because it's we make sure we get in the presence of everybody else that don't mean us no good. Huh? But if I can just get in the presence of God and touch his garment, his cloak, his garment, that's what he wore, his clothes, I will be healed. This is what it means when she touched his cloak, to connect with God. I said, what? She knew that. So two things she knew. She said, if I could just get in his presence and connect with him, her touching his cloak is symbolic to the connection, connecting with God. If I could just get in his presence and connect with him. I know my situation will change. But as we go on, as it, towards the end, it say immediately her bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. And once Jesus realized that power had gone out from him and turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding against you," his disciples answered, "and yet you ask, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet and trembled with fear, told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter," that's my father too, y'all. If he your father, go ahead and lock in. But that's my father too. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Y'all, her faith, you know how much faith you gotta have? You went to this doctor, that doctor, all your money gone. You know how much faith you gotta have to stand on the promises of God? Man, this woman inspired me. Because even in today, you know how much faith you gotta have to still believe in God? Nobody gonna talk about that, but I'm gonna talk about that. Because most people don't. You can tell, look how they live their life. They don't believe in God. No, you don't believe in God. You know how much faith? So many doctors let her down. She ran out of money. But she said to herself, if I can get in the presence of God and just touch him, I will be healed. She believed. She believed, y'all. Faith. The power of faith. The power of faith. How many situations have taken place in your life? How many situations have taken place in your life where all you did was work your faith? How many situations? All you did was stand on your faith. You you know what? I don't got no family. I don't got no friends. You know what, God? I'm a believe you. I remember one of my associates said to me, he asked me about a gun. I don't care. I'm going to get on here and keep it real with y'all. I don't care. And I remember when it became popular to do open carry and all this other stuff. Whatever. And I said, I'm going to try God at his word. Why y'all so scared to try God at his word? He said that he would be with me until the end of the world. Until the end of my world. That means until death. He going to be with me. Hey, whatever going to be, going to be. I do not live in fear. For me, guns give a false sense of security, just like money. You could sit and have money in the bank and feel like, oh, I'm protected, I'm safe. It's a false sense of security because you trust in what you see. It takes faith to trust in God. You've never seen his face, but we've seen his work. If you live long enough and your heart is not hardened, you have seen the work of God. And for those of you who haven't seen the work of God, it's not too late. It's not too late. You can see the work of God. Y'all, I had to get on here and share this with y'all. Now she said, we got to get in the presence of God. That's what we have to do. Get in his presence and then connect with him. That's what the woman with the issue of blood did, was bleeding for 12 years. She got in his presence and she connected with him. All off of her faith. She believed that he could, and he did. He did. God got you, baby. I don't know who looking at this. I could be 2 or 3 people looking at this. Thank you for stopping by. God got you, baby. He got you. He got you. It don't matter if you've been praying for the same thing for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It don't matter. Just know he got you. So we got one thing to do. Actually, 2 things to do, y'all. We got 2 things to do. Knowing that God got us. You know what that is? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Live your life. Live your life. And then above that, believe. Have faith. That's it. Continue to go on with your life. And get them people from around you that don't mean you no good. But anyway, y'all. Thanks for tuning in with your girl, Bossalini Neat, from Ambitious Hustlers Pod. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, Go ahead, lock in with me.